Hey, everybody. Okay, so I'm trying something new that I've never done before. I'm going live on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. Never gone live on Instagram. This is going to definitely be an experiment. How are you all? Let's see if I can see who is on right now. Oh, let's see. Okay, I see some of your faces. I think I see that Tam is on. And oh no, those are just reactions. Okay, nobody's on yet. Okay, so we're gonna wait till some people come on. Ooh, I see Keely has joined on Instagram. Awesome. Suze is here. Hi, Suze. It's so good to see you. So I'm gonna be shifting back and forth between my little screen on Instagram and my big screen on Facebook. So like I said at the very beginning, this is my first time doing it on two platforms at the same time. I hope my connection stays up and we'll see how it goes. Hello, Barbara. Thanks for joining. All right, so let's give people just a second to come on as I am getting everything set up. I think I'm good to go. So, oh, we have 5 people on now, on live on Facebook. So please say hi if you're here. If you're watching the replay, please also say hi and let me know in the comments. Please feel free to check those little heart buttons and the like buttons throughout the video too. Those help get this video more views and it helps me know that you are right along with me and that I'm not going on a wild tangent. Hello, Tanya. So good to see you. Hello, Joe. You're staying up late today for this broadcast. Hello, Thuja. So lovely to see you too. All right. And Keely says, yay, tuning in perfectly. Charlotte, thank you. Oh, and Vanya is here. Hi, Vanya. Tiago, hi. All right, so I'm going to jump right in. And I know I tend to be rather loquacious in these live videos. They usually go on a little bit longer than I want them to. So I'm going to try to be as snappy as possible so that those watching the replay don't get tired and that you all don't get tired and that we keep the energy going. Okay, so last month we had a big word that was play. This month, another big word came through very clearly as our theme, and I realized it's already a third into the month. Beginning of the month got a little derailed with my vacation. So the word that's really powerfully coming through for me, for all of us, for myself, everybody, all of you watching this video, everyone in my community is home. Home. And when I talk about home, I don't actually mean the physical structure that you live in. I mean that the place that you live within yourself, the place that you choose to live within yourself, and also how you live with you, how you create a home with yourself. So before we jump more into that, like usual, I'm going to hold up each of the 3 cards that I drew from, as usual, the Mariel Tarot. Still haven't deviated from this deck at all. So I'm going to hold each of them up for just a few seconds so that you can take in each of the energies yourself and have your own response to it. And as I'm holding up those cards, just kind of keep the word home and living with yourself within your mind and feel into the energies and how these cards might relate to that for you. Okay. So first we have the Hanged Man. Oh, okay, and I have to hold this in a way that Instagram and Facebook can see. And then we have Death reversed. And then we have the Emperor. Joe says that she lost me. Hopefully I'll come back. Just showing these cards again in case I didn't show them up long enough. Okay, there seems to be, okay. So hopefully I am still showing. Am I still showing? Can you let me know? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me know in the comments. All right. All right, I hope that I'm still coming through. So as I have been talking about all year, you probably, good on my end. Thank you, Suze. Okay, so that might just be a problem with some people. Okay, thank you guys for those thumbs up. Thank you. So as I've been talking about all year, we have been in this process of really putting a spotlight on our relationships, right? Really refining our relationships, really coming out of a power over type of way relating and coming into power with. And so this month, it's like we're kind of like going really deep within ourselves and looking at the relationship we have with ourselves. So we're sort of like, instead of looking at our relationship with ourselves through our relationship with others, we're actually reversing it. And so that's how we begin the process. But then as you can see through what I'm going to be saying, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, is that we'll be really refining our relationships with others by beginning with that relationship with ourselves, by rebuilding that relationship with ourselves. That's that place of home, that's home base within ourselves. So I just want, so a really clear visualization came through to explain this. So you know those old those old cartoons with the like angel on one side and the devil, or the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, right? So it's sort of like that. So if you can like sort of, I actually would recommend you even close your eyes for this. So if you can see you in the center. And so when I talk about you, I mean the you that holds your attention, the you that is like paying attention right now, the you that chooses what to pay attention to. So they're like the conscious you, right? So that you, because there's so many yous, right? And so we're going to be talking about that. So what I'm talking about is like the present tense you. So that's you in the center. And then on your left shoulder, you're going to have the you that is fearful and is doubtful and blocks you and it keeps you small and is always like, everything is so hard, right? Okay. And on the other shoulder, the right shoulder, hi, Susie, the right shoulder, you're going to have the heartfelt side of you and the joyful and the one that feels everything is expansive self, the one that is loving, right? Okay, so that's on the other you, that's the part of you that comes from your heart. So you have these parts of you, and a lot of us define the one on the left shoulder as, your ego, but I wouldn't say that it's all your ego, it's just a fraction of your ego, this part of you that's fearful and doubtful. Then you have your heartfelt self. And so it's a spin on the like devil angel thing, right? So the question I have for us all is, how do you identify? How do you identify yourself? Do you identify with the left side, fearful, doubtful, or do you identify with the heartfelt side of you? Like when you talk about yourself, when you describe yourself, when you think about yourself, which side do you kind of go to? So just take a moment to reflect on that, and knowing that you have a choice, and that choice is actually really powerful. And this month, we're really being asked to make that choice more clear to ourselves when each moment to moment. So if it's coming through that it's like, oh yeah, I actually really identify with that left side of me. I see myself as a fearful person. I see myself as a doubtful. I see myself as always frustrated and blocked. or anything that's kind of negative and kind of like that kind of weighs heavy on you, that keeps you sort of small. And so if that's the case, then this month we're really being challenged to kind of be able to shift that identity to come to, because really our identity, how we define ourselves to ourselves, is something very crucial that creates that place of home within ourselves. We don't really realize how powerful it is, but it is. And then if you find yourself saying, yeah, actually, I really identify with that heartfelt, that loving, that expansive sense of self, that's wonderful, great. So with that piece in place, then the challenge is, but how am I still sort of attached to that other part of me? How am I still sort of attached to that? When we look at these sides, a really good way to distinguish it is, on the left side, it's like everything that is hard, everything that it feels really difficult. On the right side, it's everything that feels really easy. It's the easy path. It's the path of least resistance, which moves us right into our first card of the month, the Hangman. Oh, I realize I have an agenda and I haven't been using it. All right. Taking the path of least resistance. So I have two more challenge questions for you that to sort of chew on, right? When I ask these questions, sometimes we have immediate reactions, sometimes we just need to think about them. So why have you decided that the left side is safer or is safe? Why is the hard way the safe way? Why have you decided that is safe? And I'm asking that because the original reason that you had was a very, very good reason. It's a very good reason to choose that side. But that reason is no longer applicable. It's just no longer applicable. It no longer applies. So then we need to ask ourselves, another challenge question is, what is keeping us safe that we don't need anymore, right? That is no longer, what is keeping you safe that you realize isn't really keeping you safe anymore? That is like, that you're so far like beyond, right? That it's like, why am I still using the crutch when I don't need the crutch? So if we look at, we use as if you are like in a river, right? So look at your life as a stream and like you are in a river. And it's as if this month, what we want to be doing is just be in the river. We just need to be let go and just allow ourselves to flow downstream rather than trying to reverse the stream and go backwards. So that's what it might mean by the easier path. It's letting go. It's actually letting go of the resistance and simply going with the flow. So what gets in the way of this? You know, it's like, well, if this was so easy, we'd all be doing it. So what gets in the way is control. So that's something that we're really grappling with this month, of looking at the ways that we are still trying to control the way things happen or the way that we feel or the way that things turn out. So the ways that we try to manufacture and manicure our world so much that we disappear, and we lose that sense of home. So this is a huge word that's been coming through for me, is really looking at control and how we're still using that as a coping mechanism because we're afraid to let go. because we're afraid to join the stream. Susie says, I lulled when you asked the first question because really, great. I'm glad that applies for you. All right. Okay. So how is control still showing up in your life that interferes with that heartfelt place, right? The place that comes from your heart, that place of joy, that place of expansion, that place of love. How does control get in the way of that? Okay, so moving on a little bit. So the key to all this, which is really, I sort of laughed actually when I drew the cards and I saw this revelation, is that, you know, I was first imagining this river and then we're on that river's edge and ready to jump in. And then I realized, wait a minute, we are not on the river's edge. We're already in the river. We're already in the river. And so it's really about, like, I had this vision that, like, you know, like those blinders that they put on horses and they can only see this one path. And we just need to remove our blinders and we can then see what we need to see. We can then flow where we need to flow. And so it's as if it's right there. We're just not seeing it, just beyond this very thin veil, this thin block. And so all we need to do is simply exhale. We don't need to do anything, really. We just simply need to stop doing and be and exhale and release the grip. That is the key. So what is showing right now? Okay, that's showing. Okay, so yeah, so moving on to death reverse. You are already in the river. You're already there. You're already there. It's only a small part of you. And this really helps us kind of bring ourselves fully into perspective, that it's only a small part of us that is actually grasping onto control right now. There's only a small part of us. And so think about all the other parts of you that are already on board. Your heart, your inner child, even all these aspects of your shadow. There's so much of you that's on board. It's just this part of your ego. A lot of your ego is already on board too. It's just this little part of you that is still grasping on. We have already done so much inner work this year. We have arrived on so many levels and ways. And it's just that little part. So really, the task before us is simply bringing that part of our ego in alignment with our heart. And we did this in two ways. First, choosing how we identify with ourselves. Do we identify with the harsh part of us? Do we identify with the soft part of us? Okay, so choosing how we identify is huge, which shifts where we're deciding to be home. Where it's like we're deciding where we're gonna live, right? And then we gotta move in. So then the second piece is looking at your worthiness monitor, okay? So think about for a moment, and you can close your eyes if you like. Think about for a moment the love that you desire, whether you have that love or experiencing that love right now or not. Think about the type of love, the experience of love that you desire. And then think about the sense of home, the experience of home that you desire, whether you're experiencing that right now or not. Think about that as well. Think about love and think about home, right? What feelings do they bring up within you? What do you see? What are you experiencing? What is home? What is love? And now I want you to ask yourself, do you believe yourself worthy of that love? Do you believe yourself worthy of that experience of home? So holding on to any beliefs that you have of unworthiness around love and around home, holding on to these beliefs about love and home and your kind of unworthiness of having it external to you, right? This is external to you, disrupts the experience of home and love within yourself. So if you're experiencing that disruption this month, we have an opportunity to create a different disruption, a new, powerful, aligned disruption that actually allows us to shift that focus within ourselves and create that sense of home within us that then will shift our desire for what we experience on the outside of us. Okay, if that makes sense. So what we're doing really is that we're building home. We're building home. Let's see if, whoops, there's comments. Joe says, was floating on back in river during meditation a few days ago. Oh, I love that alignment and that synchronicity. Isabel says, I understand what you are saying, but some pretty big issues, fights are going on right now. Why is it the question mark, Isabel? Is that a question, or are you feeling like there's just so much external to you that's fighting, that's happening, that it's disrupting that feeling within yourself? So if you could please clarify, I appreciate that. All right. So then we're moving on to the Emperor. The Emperor, which is actually the strongest energy that's presenting itself for us in an incredibly positive way. So remember in May, if you watched May, was all about the mother, right? It was all about healing the mother wound. And now in July, we're really looking at the father. And not just the father, but our exterior public self and our relationship with the divine masculine. So this is time for us to explore the father wound, whatever father wound that we may have, and the ways that your external identity and your public self, the identity that you have with your public self, how you believe others see you and how you desire other people to see you and experience you, how that disrupts your internal sense of self, right? So what false selves are you still caring about who you need to be to other people, or how you need to prove yourself to other people? So what we're doing is we're reversing that in order to heal it. And so I'm going to present actually 3 ways that we can really start rebuilding this sense of home within ourselves, this sense of who we are, who we're choosing to be within ourselves, how we're choosing to relate to ourselves within ourselves, which will then help us inform, help us have the confidence and the sense of worthiness to step into the public realm with that sense of home, with that alignment with ourselves, with that place of living from the heart and feeling the confidence to do so, okay? Isabel says, so sorry, Charlotte, I need to go for an activity with the girls. Yep, hard to let go when so much rests upon us. Oh, I'm so sorry, Isabel. And thank you for tuning in for a little while. Karen says, hi, I'm on for 10 minutes, off to work, love to all, and have fun. Thank you, Karen. Okay, so I'm going to go through these 3 really, these 3 methods practices to do this month. Okay. So first of all, examine your vocabulary and your lexicon. Okay, so lexicon are like the sets of words that you use. Vocabulary is sort of like your entire word base. So what words do you use to describe yourself? What words do you use when you are talking to yourself? What words do you use when do you use to describe yourself to others? Okay, so begin to really look at those words. Words carry power. Do the words that you're using, do they disempower? Do they disable? Do they strip? Do they crush? Or do they empower? Do they build? Do they strengthen? Do they enable? Really, really begin to look at your words. You know, it's just building a muscle to have awareness around it, to begin listening to yourself talk. So that's the first tool and method we can use this month to start to rebuild this sense of home within ourselves. The second one is to rewrite your story. Rewrite your story. So what have you been telling yourself about yourself and your life that hasn't shifted in like years, like so many years, either from childhood or even like from adolescent, or even like, you know, even in the last 10, 20, 30 years? You know, think about what the narratives you've been telling yourself about your life and yourself. And think about if any of those feel a little bit outdated, because oftentimes we just get so used to these narratives that we don't even go back and check to see if they're still valid. So what are you telling yourself and others about yourself and your life, and about your struggles, especially when it comes to your struggles and your pain? So then we need to look again, right? When, the same as a vocabulary. Is that story, when you tell it, does it empower you? Does it build you? Does it expand you? Does it strengthen you? Does it make you feel good? Or does it crush you? Does it disempower? Does it make you feel weak? Does it make you feel small? Does it make you feel powerless? Does it make you feel like a victim? You know, and so think about those stories. And here's the thing, is that you can use your pain as a strength. And we're actually all being called to rewrite our stories to find the strength and the resilience in our pain. And that this is the piece. It's not just about inspiring other people with your stories. This is really key. It's also about inspiring yourself. How often do we not even bring ourselves into the equation of what we're saying? How is it serving you? So allow yourself, in the way, the stories you tell, to inspire yourself, to be a place where you want to come back to. So use those lessons that you've learned, integrate that wisdom that you have learned. This last 6 months, I have spent a lot of time writing this first draft of this book. And something really wonderful out of that process was that I really processed so much of my experiences through the writing process, really integrating and really making sense of everything in a new light, in a way where like I wanted to read this for myself. Isabel says, yes, it's hard to let go once. Oh, I think I already saw that. Oh, there it goes. Oh, hi, Cinnamon. All right. So that's the second one. So examine your vocabulary, rewrite your story, and now we're going to the third practice that we can be doing this month to build that sense of home, which is redefine power. Redefine power. Okay, so take a second. When you think of the word power, what do you think of? How do you see power, really? Like, really honestly, stepping away from what anyone should be however you should be thinking about it, right? How do you see power? And consider whether you are still, or whether you see power and define power and feel power within your body, because power is so visceral as well. If you see it and experience it and view it as a power with, as a control over, as hierarchical, being below or being beneath, as aggressive, as violent, as overwhelming. So if any of those pieces are coming in, and it's so normal for that, because this is what we were modeled. This is what majority of us have been modeled, this sort of power. And we've all been modeled it in some form. And so having acceptance of that, right? We're not going to like unwrite that. That's part of our world. We have to keep an idea of that form of power. But we need to begin rewriting power for ourselves, rewriting what power really means for ourselves, what an experience of power is. Because I think a lot of us, we sit in this visceral experience of the power over, and we know we're supposed to like, yes, feel empowered and blah, 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 and power with, right? But we don't really know exactly what that feels and experiences is. And so this is the month where we really get to kind of start playing with that, about what is power with? What does that mean to you? What is that experience? What is the experience of you being in your power in a positive, life-affirming way, of being in a place of power within yourself where you are building yourself while also helping others build as well, right? Stronger. Think of Hillary Clinton's campaign slogan, "Stronger Together." And so what what is that like within you? And really, like, I'm just going to leave that sort of with you, because it takes a little time to sit with, of what really like power with feels like, what it means to be really in your power, what makes you feel powerful. And then we get to start identifying with this new form of power. We get to start saying, I am powerful. And when we say, I am powerful, we're not just sort of trying to block out that old meaning that we've been carrying, right? We get to actually see and feel this new form of power that we're really embracing, and begin identifying that with that. I am powerful. And then that is adds to our place of home within ourselves. We get to live in that place of I am powerful. All right. So some final messages from the Emperor, right? It was number 4, which is that place of stability within ourselves. Final message of the Emperor. You are stronger than you think. You are more resilient than you think. You're more capable. You are more skilled. You are more tenacious. And you are more than ready to live now within your heart. You're more than ready to create that home base that is heart-based and not fear-based. And to shift your identity, to shift your place of home. Okay? So, all right. Comments, final questions, final reflections. Let's hear them. And then I'll do a little bit of summary. Let's see. Jo says she's going to tell herself bedtime stories. Great. Cinnamon says she's catching some of the live. Cinnamon says, I see power as being able to have a choice, freedom. Ooh, I love that, Cinnamon. I love that. Like, yeah, that for you, power means freedom. I love that. All right. Yeah, because that's the thing. Power can mean something really different for each of us. And it taps into our own spiritual gifts, our own spiritual resilience, our own place of openness and expansiveness. Susie says she totally relates to those feelings of those negative feelings of power. Yeah. And how can we not? You know, that's the thing for all of us. How can we not? We have to actively shift the way we relate, you know, because this other form of power is modeled everywhere we go. So it's an active shift that we are making. So yes, exactly. Karen says, I feel like bliss when I am in my power. Yeah. And that is why power is such an important component to that place of home. Because when we're in bliss, we want to stay there, right? We want to stay there. And that place of home is where we want to stay within ourselves. Sue says, power to choose. I love all these, by the way. I so love these. Yeah, power to choose. And that was the same as what Cinnamon said. Yeah, okay, awesome. Yeah, being able to, and I think in that choice, it's like also being able to embrace your choice, embrace actually what you really want so that you can choose, right? Sometimes we have to take us back a step too, okay? And Ruth says she sees power as connection. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah. And I feel that too, Ruth, because when we connect, we're like bringing two essences together and we are just more powerful when we're creating those connections and we are creating that exchange of energy. And so it does create power. Yeah. And connection is love, right? And love is, I believe, the strongest form of power. I love that. Joe says, power, seeing each other's story and know that in yourself and everyone else. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. And that's really tapping into this place of sovereignty, right, Joe? So being able to recognize other people's stories and see them for what they are and separate those stories from your own. And so that you can take ownership of your own stories and just your own stories. Yes, definitely. I love that. All right, so let's see. Anything? Keely, any reactions? You're my one Instagram viewer. Let me know. Okay, so let's do a little wrap up here. So a little summary, because I've been reminded that I often forget to do the summaries. So thank you to those of you who have reminded me of that or suggested that maybe I should add a summary to the end to help this all get wrapped up. So, okay, so we're redefining home. And redefining home means how we live with ourselves, how we choose to live with ourselves. And so this comes down to 4 pieces. So we are choosing how we identify. We're choosing what part of ourselves we are identifying with, actively identifying with, by the way we talk to ourselves, by the way we present ourselves to the world, by the way we talk about ourselves to others and ourselves. We are taking, in order to discover this place of home and choose this place of home, all we need to do is take the path of least resistance. Take the path of least resistance and look out for the ways we are still leaning on control and using control to kind of like go against the current and fight the current, okay? All we need to do is really release our grip. Number 3, know that you have already arrived. Have confidence in yourself, that you are already there. Most of you is already on board. Any part of you that's still struggling right now, know that so much has brought you to this moment. You've done so much inner work already. Really, it's all about looking at, do you believe that you are worthy of living in this experience of these wonderful forms of power that you spoke about, right? And of living in a place of freedom and expansion and connection and love. Do you believe that you're worthy of living there? And then if there's still some like pieces that are like, I don't know, then begin building that empire and that home within yourself by examining your vocabulary, rewriting your story, rewriting your stories, I should say, and redefining power for yourself. All right. So that is our picture for this month. Feel free to let any more comments come in. And just a final announcement is I am, as many of you know, I am doing a series on worthiness, and maybe not a series, maybe that's what I'm going to be talking about for the rest of my life. I don't know, but it's what I want to be talking about right now. So I'm going to be doing a live video on live broadcast on July 18th. That's next Wednesday, where we're going to talk about the comparison game. The comparison game, right? The judging game, where we judge ourselves, we judge another person, we're constantly in that comparison mode with other people. We're going to talk about that and how to get out of it, how to get out of it for good. So that is upcoming next week on July 18th, just to give you guys a heads up. All right. So I think that's all the comments. Thank you all for coming on live. Thank you for coming on live on Instagram. And thank you for all who have watched the replay. Feel free to leave your own comments, final comments and remarks, and I will be sure to catch them and respond to them as well. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon and evening and nighttime wherever you are in the world. And I will see you all soon. All right, bye.